Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Dina and I have been stitching with a friend today and I've had such a good time. Hadn't been able to see this friend for a little while. They're caring for a family member a lot right now and hadn't been able to get out and about very much lately. And so today was a special treat. They were able to get away and they agreed to come and meet up with me to stitch. And so we picked a Panera Bread that was about halfway between the two of us. And we met there about 10 o'clock and had a snack and then stitched through lunch, ate a late lunch, and stitched through the early afternoon. So about 3 or so, we both had to head our separate ways, but it was such a treat to get to spend time with another friend, especially someone that you stitch with. So I really, really had a good time. Thank you, Melody. While I was stitching there, I was working on my next prompt for 24 hours of cross stitch for the June challenge, the monthly challenge. And I decided to work on the letter F. I had originally thought I was going to use a different whip for this project, but when I got ready to pack my bag yesterday to take it with me, the project I was going to use was big, and my pattern that my working copy that I've taped together is huge, and I didn't want to have to take that with me. So I thought, I have another one that will work for F, and that is the Broderie à Paris, because it's French. F is for French. So this is the one I took with me, and I am doing a color conversion on that. And so I am using the Silk and Pearl cotton from the Thread Gatherer, and the color is Forest of Greens. And I have gotten another motif. I'm so thrilled. I did most of this today while we were stitching together. And then I got all the way down to almost finishing this last little bit of the scissors under the tower there, or that make up the tower. And I went ahead, we had to part ways, so I came on home and I finished up that last little bit on the scissor handles there, and decided that I would count up my time, and I had enough hours. I had a little bit extra to meet one of the categories in the 24 hours cross stitch challenge. I could do the 4 hours. You know, that doesn't look like a whole lot of stitching in 4 hours, but number one, remember it is variegated floss, so you have to do every stitch at a time. And two, I was busy talking and I had to frog. And I will tell you something, this pearl cotton, actually, it's actually silk. It doesn't like to be frogged at all. You try to frog it, I don't care how gentle you are, it starts shredding and falling apart on you. You wind up cutting it and running the thread under, as Caroline would say, the Borgello tuck, and you have to start over. I had to frog, I think, 3 separate times when I was there today, simply because I was busy talking and visiting, and I don't care. I don't care. I had a great time. And eventually I got it done. So I'm really happy that I got the next motif done. As you can tell, I'm working across the top half. So I now have the center words, flowers, motif, and alphabet, ABC, and that's a little section. And then I have another section about this size over here to go to here. But this is the entire width of the project. But every time, I love this because every time I pick it up, I pick the motif I'm going to work on, and I work until I finish the motif. And that has been working out really well for me. So enjoyed it today. Had a great time visiting with a friend, got my stitching done, and got a prompt. So I call that a very successful day. I hope you're having a good day. I hope you're enjoying what you're stitching on. I always say that because I mean it. And I will talk to you in the near future, I hope, with my next update. Happy stitching, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Today is Thursday. It is the 6th of June, and I'm here to give you an update. I started stitching an ornament yesterday for a cross-stitch finish line sale called One in a Series. They have it every month, and I use it to make sure that I stitch either one of my Christmas ornaments that I'm working on that's a series, or my monthly series. Well, since I'm a little ahead in the monthly series and I've already stitched July because of Mania, I decided to pick up my second ornament from the Hands-On Design series, the 12 days. And this time I was working on the doves. I did partridge during Mania. So I started it yesterday and I finished it this morning. Here's my finish. You can see the Q-snap wrinkles in there where I had it on the Q-snap this morning. Isn't that precious? I just am so enjoying it. Really pretty. It's got little pink flowers, but it's hard to see because of the red in the fabric. But I think they're gorgeous. So I have completed that, and I'm now ready to move on to working on the pop-up challenge for the School of Magical Stitches. And I just wanted to show my sister Stephanie that I have on a t-shirt that she gifted me years ago when I helped her move across the country. And so I have it on today. I'm going to the work at the food pantry in just a few minutes. And so I wanted to come on here and let her know. I was thinking of her because I know that she and her father are in Old Nauvoo, Illinois this week. And I just hope they have a wonderful trip. You guys have a great time stitching, and I'll check in with you soon. Hi, everyone. This is Tina, and today is Friday, June 7th, and that means it is the start of our 24 hours of cross-stitch marathon. I had service at our community food bank today, and then had a late lunch with my husband afterwards. When we got home, it was exactly 3:57 p.m. I told my husband, we have to get home. I have a 4 o'clock appointment with my cross stitch. So I've been stitching for a few hours now, and I am ready to change projects. I actually have a list. Are you surprised? I have a list of things that I wanted to do, and at least try to get these done and then do whatever else I have the energy and the time to do. But doing so many prompts for School of Magical Stitches and for Cheryl's group, and even the June 24 hours where we did the 24, the project for each letter. All of those are either timed or they're stitch counts. And so when I'm timed or I'm doing stitch counts, I don't want to do back stitching. I don't want to do frogging. I just want to stitch. I want to get as many stitches as possible so I can hit my prompts. So I mentioned in a video that you've just seen prior to this where I did a Mania recap where I think that I picked a wrong color in my Jumpin' Jack Frost on 2 of the leaves on that second half. And I think they're going to need to be frogged and redone. So I want to pull that out during this 24 hours of cross stitch, and I want to correct that because that won't hurt me on any of my other prompts. Being able to, do negative progress like that wouldn't take away from me being able to hit my stitches for a prompt. So that's the time to do that. And I decided that I would possibly start working on some pieces that are larger, or I have made working copies and taped them all together so my patterns are really large. I'm going to start working on some of those because I don't want to take them with me to StitchCon because they're too unwieldy to manage. I want to take smaller things with me to StitchCon that have smaller patterns that are on one page, or I've only copied, you know, one of the pages for my working copy so far. And I'm also going to try to take a page out of Lynette's book, where she has been prepping projects for StitchCon by stitching outlines of large blocks of color, so that when she gets to StitchCon, she just has to fill stuff in. Well, I have a couple that would work with, so I want to do that during this 24 hours of cross stitch as well. So there's no telling what all I'll pull out and what I'll get done. But one of the things I wanted to do before I got too far into this, while I was still fresh, is I wanted to stitch for one of my prompts for the 24. And I needed to stitch for the U, and I had selected my Jim Shore 12 days, because all 12 days are under his coat. So I was using the word under his coat for my connection. And I wanted to stitch long enough to really get some progress on this piece, because when I go to StitchCon, I think it would be so much easier just to work on a lot of this background. And I did some of that to get some quick stitches for stitch counts on one of my School of Magical Stitches homework, and it went really well. So single color, easy to do. So I wanted to go ahead and get this side of Santa's shoulder already in the picture, so that I could at least work over. I've got another row over here I haven't even started on, and on this one I haven't done this because it had to blend in with that shoulder. And just in case I'm off anywhere on him, I'm waiting to do the background till I get him filled in. And then I have all this back stitching to do. Back stitching would be fairly easy to do, I think, at StitchCon. So that was my idea, is to get this one prepped for StitchCon while I'm working on a prompt for 24. And as it turns out, in Cheryl's group, one of the prompts for the Galapagos Islands was wildlife, and we were to stitch something that had animals on it that we would find on an island. And they have birds in here, hens, doves, you know, partridge in a pear tree. So maybe they don't have those exact birds, and a swan is in there too, but they would at least have birds. So this is the closest thing I had to that. So I was using this for that prompt. And in Cheryl's group, we had to have 300 stitches. So I thought I'll just stitch as far as I want to stitch and then count and see how far I did. So I was able to get his shoulder in. I'm very happy with the progress. I'll show you where I've come. So when I got started over here, his shoulder holding the staff and his sleeve and mitten, that's what I worked on the last time. So this time I came over here and I went ahead and I did that whole shoulder and arm, mitten, muff, all of this side right here is what I did today. So now, as you can see, it'll be easy for me to work this row all the way across. I think I have two, one on each side to do. And then I can come down here and get the next row, and I might even be able to get started on this row of background. So that would give me plenty of background to stitch here. And then of course the back stitching on his head, beard, his face, all of that I can do now because I've stitched everything that touches his beard. I had to do this last little side over here before I back stitched that, and I didn't want to get started until I had it ready. So this is my first whip that I've worked on in my 24 hours of cross stitch marathon, and I am really happy with how far I've gotten. So my next thing I'm going to do now is go ahead and pick up my Jumpin' Jack Frost, because I'm going to check on those leaves. because I'm pretty sure I did them the wrong color. I think it would be a mirrored picture, and so obviously it should be the orange color that's in the first side. And I'm going to go ahead and frog that out if I need to and get those leaves corrected. And then I'll determine if I want to go on down and stitch any more on it, or if I want to save stitching on that, you know, till I go to StitchCon. I'll give it a look. So I'll be back in a few hours probably and give you an update on what I've done. Hello again, good evening. I am still working on the 24 hours of cross stitch marathon. It is about 10 p.m. and so I wanted to share with you my latest whip that I've been working on. I had mentioned I was gonna pull out my Jumpin' Jack Frost and try to get those leaves checked out and frog them and restitch them if need be. And I am so happy to tell you, I didn't have to frog. If you look at this pattern, you can see the leaves on one side are 2 shades of orange, and the leaves on the other side are green and orange. I didn't do it wrong. It was correct. I couldn't believe it. Anyway, I'm very excited about that. So I didn't have to frog. So instead, I was able to just start working where I left off. And where I left off, I had done the entire first row across, the whole top, with the bucket and the leaves and the vines. And I had done the words, listen, and the exclamation point. And that's where I stopped. So I'm doing the lettering in a very pretty variegated floss. It's a silk and pearl cotton, and it's called Acorn Woods. I think, let me see if I can put that against something white to show you what it is. Isn't that beautiful? Just a beautiful fall variegation. Just, you know, from brown to orange to teal to green is just really pretty. And so I'm doing the lettering in that because the lettering was done in a bit of a variegated floss, but it was all purple. It's just went from medium to dark purple and back in here. So I wanted to do mine in that variegated floss. So I continued on with the lettering, and I got the next row done, and then the next row done of lettering. Isn't that awesome? And there's no lettering on the other side of that row because it's Jumpin' Jack. But I did this lettering in the leaf, and then I did the Is Wild. And that's where I'm gonna stop for this time. So, I was so happy I did not have to frog. All right, so that is the second whip I've worked on for the 24 hours. I have others on my list. I'm starting to feel it. I'm starting to feel a little fatigue since I worked all day before I started stitching. So I know you guys feel that as well. So I may just pick up something off this list that's easy to stitch and go from there. But I will come back and share it with you. So happy stitching, everyone. Hi everyone, good morning. I am back at the 24 hours of cross stitch. I stitched late into the night last night. I got 8 hours, I guess, yesterday into the evening, wee hours of the morning. Anyway, I took a sleep, and now I have come back to record what I worked on right before I went to sleep. and what goal I met that I had set for myself. And now, after I record this, I have some volunteering I do today, and then when I get back from that, I'll be back at it. So I'll be back hopefully later today to share with you maybe another goal that I've met. As it got later last night, I wasn't feeling sharp enough to do frogging. There was another project that I needed to frog a little bit on, and I was going to do it next. It was next on my list. And I thought, no, I don't want to cut the wrong thing. I don't want to hurt my fabric, and I'm too sleepy, to really do that. So instead, I went for something that was a little bit easier to do. And I decided to pick up my Broderie à Paris because it is a monochromatic. And I had set the goal for myself to do at least one more motif. And I decided that this little grouping here, where it talks about cross stitch, and it has the sample of the cross stitch motif here, that little group there would be what I wanted to aim for before I put this away. And I am happy to say that I completed that. So here it is. I am really enjoying working on this piece. I hadn't done a monochromatic in a while since I finished the Christmas one, the Quaker Christmas 2. And so it's been a little time since I've done that. My Flowers of the Holy Night and Simply Love are not monochromatic. They are variegated flosses, but they're multiple flosses. But this one is all one floss. So you don't have to change anything. You just keep reloading your needle when you run out. I am also happy to tell you that I have made it to the end of my first skein. I'll show you what I have left of it. Two pieces. That's what I have left of that first skein. So I will break into another skein the next time I work on this. And I've looked at my progress, and I really feel like with what I have ordered that I have on hand now, I should be okay. So I'm gonna trying to quit stressing over that. Anyway, this was my progress before I decided to go to bed. So I'm excited about meeting that progress. And one other thing I wanted to mention to you, I almost forgot, the background color that blends so well into the fabric that you see in here, it's also called for all within this border, and I'm leaving that for StitchCon. So again, this will be one of the pieces that I take with me because it is easier to do. And I'm gonna try, if I have a chance to, stitch another motif over here because it is a square of the variegated floss, and then all that in behind that button is the background fill-in, and that would be a really good thing to do while I'm at StitchCon as well. So that might be a real good one, in a good position if I can get that square part done. All right, well, it is Saturday, and I hope you are enjoying your 24 hours of cross stitch if you're participating. And I have popped in a couple of times on Facebook and looked at the Sammy J Stitches live, and when I get back this afternoon, I may try to see if I can figure out how to join that. I know it's a Google Hangout. I've got the link, but I don't use my Google account very much other than my floss tube. So I've got to go figure out what my password is and everything so I can see if I can get in if it's not full. Anyway, I will talk to you guys later. Enjoy your 24 hours of cross stitch marathon if you're participating, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Dina, and tonight is fairly late on the 8th of June, and I am here to give you a brief update of what I've been up to today. I have been on virtual stitchers for several hours today and had such a good time getting to meet people I hadn't had a chance to talk with. A couple of people there, I recognized their names from comments or from seeing their posts on in the Facebook groups, and it was just a delight to get to meet a couple of them that I had recognized their names, and then the rest of the people were new to me, and that was such a pleasure. I want to thank Sammy J from Sammy J Stitches for organizing that for us to enjoy, and I hope to join you guys again in the future. But I've worked on four different projects today in the last 24, so far, in the last 24 hours. I've worked on the Jumpin' Jack Frost. I thought I was gonna have to frog it and I didn't, so I kept making progress on that. I worked on the Broderie à Paris and I shared that with you. But then I picked up the Needle's Eye and I did have to frog a little bit of it, and I got that done. And then I went on forward and cross-stitched a little bit more of the that side of the piece. I got the chair done and that was it. And then for the I went on and did part of what I have on my Flowers of the Holy Night, and I'll show that to you now. I went ahead, I wanted to do 2 green leaves to finish up this other section over here, and I got that done. And then I wanted to get a start on the last of the 3 flowers that go here. I wanted to do 2 red leaves during this 24 hours. So I'm still hoping to pick this back up and get 2 red leaves on there if I can. But if not, at least I finished that center motif. And then I was a little weary from working on that because that's on my floor stand and I have to hold my arms a certain way to work with it. So I put that away and took a little breather from it after several hours today and decided to work on my Simply Love. It's still variegated silk. I still have to do it 1 cross at a time, but I figured that I would do that while I was already in the mood, already working in that vein. And so I did. So I'll share with you what it looks like now. Here it is. I'm filling in more of this side over here. So what I did today is I started with, it's hard for you to see them because they're white, but there were little circles of white in here. And then I did this motif here, and there's more little white motifs there. And then I came down and did this motif here. And then I came over to this motif, which had been started up here. But as it turned out, about right in here, I joined it, I did this stem, and I did this leaf. So quite a bit of stitching on this today. I'm very, very pleased with that progress. So the next time pick it up, I may try to, it may be at StitchCon, I don't know. If it's at StitchCon, I'll probably do this solid part here. It meets up in the middle, so I could bring this on down. There's some floss there. And meet this stem that goes up in the middle, and could just do all that solid color. But anyway, I am really, really enjoying this. So made some progress on that, got quite a few hours on that today. So it is after 11 o'clock. I have stitched all total so far 19.75 hours, so almost 20 hours of my 24. And I have tomorrow. Now I'm hoping to eke out that 24 tomorrow because I have on a commitment in the morning for church. And then my husband is going to be staying a little bit late tomorrow to practice a solo for next Sunday with a pianist. And so hopefully that won't be too long before we head to lunch. But I may not get started stitching, until later in the afternoon. So I'm going to go ahead and get some sleep and get up early tomorrow so that I can hopefully get an hour or two of stitching in before we even leave the house. And that is my only way I'm going to make it to 24 hours in this time period. It couldn't have been a busier weekend for me. So I have been burning the midnight oil trying to get enough hours in. It's been great fun though. Jen, thank you for organizing it. And I'll be watching for when you want us to, and how you want us to let you know what we've been doing. In the meantime, you guys, I hope you are enjoying what you're stitching and that you are having a wonderful weekend. I'll see you tomorrow. Good morning, everyone. It's June 12th. Welcome back. This is Dina, and I'm here today to share with you a new start. Yes, another new start. Who is this person? Well, this is my June start for the year. I was doing a new start once a month for the whole year before I even decided what to do for Mania. So this is my June start. And I picked this start because we bought the house that we retired to June a year ago. And so actually 2 years ago now, I think. So anyway, I decided to do Little House Neighborhood because we love our new neighborhood. We love our new home. And I thought this would be a great piece to commemorate that in the month that we purchased this house. So this is my new start. I started it yesterday, and it happened to coincide with a sale on the Facebook group, Cross Stitch Finish Line, and it's an engagement sale, and the phase of the engagement sale that started on the 10th was something new. So a new start was perfect for that. Anyway, this is my new start. This is what I got done. And it turned out that I was able to do 380 stitches. So the homework for this week was one of two options. 1,000 stitches on your favorite whip that you love the most, and therefore it was stolen and hidden in the lake. Or if you put a protection spell on all of your whips, you could just stitch 300 stitches on anything you wanted. Of course, the difference is the amount of points you get for your team. But based on my week, I'm volunteering at the food pantry this week, and so I don't have a ton of time to stitch. I opted for the 300 stitches because I already had the plan for this new start, and so it worked out that I could use it for both. So there you go, my Magical Stitches homework and my sal right here, 380 stitches, and I'm loving it. This is Ancient Lugana. It's 32 count. It's from Picture This Plus, and I'm really enjoying it. And the coverage is phenomenal. I'm almost thinking I could have used one strand, but I like to do the loop start, and so I prefer to. And the coverage on it, because I'm using 2 strands on this 32 count that's really tight, is gorgeous. It really is pretty. You cannot see any fabric in there. So I'm enjoying this, and I'll be sharing it with you as it grows. So what else is going on? Well, yesterday I went on a little shopping spree. I had a little bit of a balance in my Stitch from Stash from all the finishes from Mania. And I wanted to go and get some threads that I needed for this piece. I've got quite a few things that I'm working on that have threads. I do pull my threads for each project so that I can grab them and go. And then I put them back in my stash when I'm through with them. But having so much kitted, some of the popular colors are already in use. So I went and picked up about 5 threads yesterday. And while I was there at the local Michael's getting my thread, I walked out of the aisle where the floss is displayed, and there was a stand on the end of an aisle, and it was all the new DMC colors. And I just was so thrilled. I had a coupon, and so I was able to get one of each of the new colors. And in fact, in 2 cases, I got the last one of that color on the display. So it was get them today while they're all here. So I got those, and so today I will be doing some bobbinating. I bobbinate my DMC because I always have. And so my entire set of DMC is on bobbins. So it's easier for me to just continue bobbinating than it would be to change the whole thing over. And bobbins don't bother me. I like them. I think they're convenient. And when I do kit up a project, this is what I do. I have these little ones. They're hard to find now. I want some more of these. I have the larger ones too, you know, that are about this big. But these are perfect because they're just the right size for a kit. And I pull my little bobbins and they fit in there. So it works really well for me. It's what I'm used to, I guess. And I picked up a scroll rod because I am loving my floor stand. I have a Lowry imitation. It's not a Lowry, but it was one that was made just like it. I ordered it online, and I'm loving it. Just love it. And so I'm starting to put more and more things on scroll rods because it holds them so well. And I use my Q-snaps a little bit more for travel than I do for home. Although my my floor stand, the gripper right here will hold a Q-snap. Holds it just fine. So I can use either one. But the scroll rod seems to fit in there a little more securely. The Q-snap is slick, so you have to put something gripper type, you know, like a little rubber shelf liner or something like that in there would make it sit probably a little firmer, but it will kind of a little bit. But I got a new scroll rod. I really like the roller frames, but they're not readily available to me. I have to order them and wait quite a little bit of time for them to get here. So I just picked up one that just has the split rail system. We'll see how that goes. And picked up the DMC yesterday. So I will be bobbinating some today before I get back to stitching. And then I've done something this week that I'm going to do a separate video about. Only because I think it might spark some ideas for you. Some of us have stashes that we've been building for years. I have. I never, even when I couldn't cross stitch because of my work schedule and family life for so many years, I wouldn't give it away and I wouldn't let go of it because I knew someday I was going to get back to my stitching. And I did stitch a little bit through those years. I just didn't get to stitch very much, and I didn't finish very much. But I still loved it. And the only time I really got to do it was on vacation. I would take it with me and stitch the entire time we were gone, make my husband so mad because I didn't want to do anything except stitch. It was like, why do you take a vacation and just stitch? Well, that's what I wanted to do. But anyway, now I'm privileged to be retired and I stitch every day I can. So I went through my stash, all of it, and I reevaluated every piece. Well, I say all of it. Let me take that back and clarify. I went through every pattern and kit. I didn't go through magazines and books. That's a whole separate ball of wax. I'll have to do that another time. But I found a number of items that I have collected over the years that are no longer in my style or my taste, or I've changed the decor in my home and I was going to stitch it for my house and now it doesn't fit. But it may fit somewhere else. So I'll be using those pieces as giveaways and gifts on my channel. but I have organized my stash. And I'm going to do a little video in a few minutes, and then I'll put it up separate. But I've organized it, and even to the point of pairing fabrics with patterns and doing some planning on what I'm going to do with some of this and when I'm going to start some of it. And I'll share all of that with you. Well, I may just call it the stash dive. I don't know. Anyway, I'm looking forward to filming that for you, and I hope you enjoy it. And maybe it will spark some ideas for you. I'm not going to go through and show you every piece of stash. Don't worry. It's not going to be like, I have this, and I have this, and I have this. Because I would feel like that was just sort of a being braggadocious or something. I don't know. I just don't think that would be as effective as what I want to do. What I'd like to do is spark ideas for you on how you might want to go through your stash or something to organize it so you have a better idea of what you have and what you may want to do or not do, and maybe help you make some decisions on your stash. So that's my hope. And if even one person gets an idea out of it, I think it's valuable. I've already done it, and so it's just really a documentation for me of what I've done. But I hope that sharing it with you will be of interest. So look for that. That'll be coming forward. In the meantime, I hope you have a fabulous week, and I wish you all happy stitching. Good afternoon. Today is Thursday, and it is June 13th. And I'm back to give you a brief update and tell you what I'm up to. Hi, my name is Dina, and I hope you're enjoying this series of videos where I am documenting my cross stitch. I wanted to share with you my progress on one of my whips that I am pushing toward a finish. And this is my Flowers of the Holy Night from Glendon place. It is done in variegated silks, so I am working with them and enjoying it. They're fun to stitch with. They're so soft and beautiful. I'm working on this piece for a couple of reasons. One is it's on a large scroll frame, and I won't be able to take it with me to StitchCon or any other stitching retreat, so I wanted to work on it as much as I could while I'm at home and can put this on my floor stand. And as I had mentioned in a previous segment, I'm doing a pattern swap with Stitch in May, and she's waiting on this pattern. So I wanted to use that as motivation to let me put some stitches in this and push it toward a finish. It still has a ways to go, and then I have to beat it. So the more I put in it, just the sooner I will get there. But I did something very interesting this week, and I will share that with you once I show you my progress. I worked on this today, and I got 4 of the leaves done. I got these 2 done and these 2 done. These are mirror images of each other, and I'll tell you my rationale. This is the midpoint here, across here. So this is my lower half, and I've got 3 flowers to go. When I got ready or finished the last leaf in this bottom flower, I think it was this one, I realized when I stitched it, I started it exactly where it was supposed to be and everything, but for some reason, it appears a little bit tighter to me than the other flowers. I don't know if that's supposed to be that way. I don't think it is. It doesn't look that way on the pattern, but it certainly turned out that way. So that scared me. I thought I've gotten off somehow, somewhere, and what if this throws the whole bottom off? What am I gonna do? I'm not gonna frog this thing. So am I gonna be able to finish it? So I got my counting pins out, and I went counting. And I counted where these starting points were in relationship to these 2 leaves, and I counted over, and this fit perfectly. And then I came over here and I counted over here, and they were off by 1 stitch. So this leaf, actually it's this one, this leaf is one stitch closer to this leaf than it should be. But this lines up and this lines up and it's okay. It worked. So I decided that I would stitch the 2 leaves that are sandwiched in here that kind of, you know, have to fit perfectly in here. I did these 2 on both sides to make sure that they were going to work. And now that I have them in and I see that they're perfectly fine, it's a negligible difference. I mean, you can't really tell that that's 1 stitch closer. You can now because you know it. But, you know, just looking at it, I don't think it's that distracting. So I'm just going to go forward with it and let that, you know, go. But that is why I did these 2 and these 2 instead of, you know, going on 1 and finishing around or whatever. But now I need to roll this up. I wanted to show it to you this time before I rolled it up so you could see more of it. And I'll be rolling it up when I work on it next. But I'm going to put it away for today because I have some other projects that I want to work on. And so I will be working toward packing and getting ready to go to StitchCon, and I'll pop in and give you updates as I'm stitching up until I go. And hopefully we'll have a couple of videos out between now and then, or now and right when I get back. As I said, I made a video about my stash organization, and I may share that with you just to give you some ideas, tips, and have you give me some back, you know, things that you could see that might help me. I hope you're having a great time. We're about to head into the weekend, and so I hope you get lots of stitching. Goodbye, everybody. Hello again, everyone. This is Dina again, and today is Friday, June 14th. And this probably will be my last update for this video, unless I get something really exciting tomorrow in the mail. I'm waiting on a couple of things. But I went through my WIP list and I looked at the things that I was going to take with me to StitchCon, and I put them aside and decided to give my WIPs some attention. The WIPs that were too large to take with me, the WIPs that the patterns were more difficult, or the WIPs that needed a lot more time. The one that jumped out at me today, because my son is working late stay tonight, he won't be home until much later, and my husband has an acting job today, so they're both out of the way. I decided to work on a piece I'm doing to celebrate their trip to Japan, and it is Happiness by Riolis. And when I looked at this one recently to determine how many days it was going to take to finish it, I calculated that it was going to take me about 25 days to stitch this. I've talked with you a little bit in the past about this one. It's not hard to stitch, it's just cross stitches, but it is confetti. But this is where I got to today. I actually did all of this large branch right here. This was a huge branch. It's one of the largest ones on the tree, I think. But I got that one done today, and it took a number of hours to get that done. But I'm happy with it, and now what I will do next is I will come back up here where this all joins the trunk of the tree, and I'm gonna work my way down and get that trunk finished. And then I'll have a decision to make. I'll have to decide whether I want to go ahead and do the bottom all the way across and then come back up and finish the tree, or if I just want to keep working on the tree branches until I get them all done. I do think that the last thing I'm going to do is the circular background where it's just all fill in. I think I'm going to finish that tree before I want to do that background. So I don't know what I want to do first. I don't know whether I want to work my way down and get that gnarly bottom done, and then work my way up, or just what. But this is a lot more stitching than it appears. But I am very pleased with the progress I made today, and I'm really glad I had a day when they were both out of the house and couldn't accidentally come in and see it. So, happy stitching, everyone. Bye for now. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. This is Dina, and today is Saturday. It is June 15th. And today I have been working on a whip for two things. One is a prompt from Cheryl McKinney's group, and I've been able to get 2 prompts of her 5 for this week out of this one whip. And then also today, being the 15th, is a Work That Whip sal, and so I'm going to be able to count this for that as well. I have been stitching a good bit today. I hit 2 prompts, as I said. So between those 2 prompts, I have stitched 776 stitches into this whip. Okay, so I'm gonna have to ask my sister Stephanie to look away because it happens to be the whip that is her gift. I'll tell you when you can look back. So if you'll go ahead and look away now, I'll remind everyone else, this is the one I was working on. Now there were 2 prompts that I was using this for Cheryl McKinney's group. One was that you could stitch, you needed to stitch on something that had a weapon in it, and this is what I'm considering the weapon. You see what he's holding there? And then the additional prompt that I used it for was for Tombstone. Cheryl had put in her group an entire story about how Tombstone was created, how it grew, what caused it to grow. And so our prompts this week had to do with the Wild Wild West. And so I used this for 2 of those prompts. The first one I showed you, and then the second one was for Tombstone. And as part of that, you could put something, you could work on something that had names, sayings, dates, and of course this has some of that in here. There's a saying here, and then of course I will be putting my initial and the date of the year on there, and so it will have all of that information on it, so I felt it qualified for this whip. So now let me show you where that got me to. So I completed the rest of this over here to the border, and I came down and got all of that stitched in. So I'm really pleased. It's now ready for me to pack away to take with me to StitchCon. Okay, Stephanie, you can look back now. My goal for the rest of this week is to look at the list of things that I'm taking with me to StitchCon and work on projects that I'm not taking with me. This, of course, is going with me, but the reason I had to work on it today was for those prompts. So it could be that I will pull things out that I'm going to carry with me to StitchCon if it's to meet a prompt either in Cheryl's group or the School of Magical Stitches. This is my project bag that I'm keeping this project in, and it's my monogrammed bag that I got from Victoria, and I thought what a better place to keep it than something that was so personal to me. One of my favorite things is to have something monogrammed. So I hope you're gonna enjoy your weekend of stitching. I don't know whether I'll be able to come back and show you anything else over the weekend or not, since it's Father's Day and we have some activities for that. But if I can, I certainly will. And again, I hope you're enjoying your stitching as much as I am. Good day. Hello, fellow stitchers. Welcome back. This is Dina, and today I have a progress report to share with you and a very small personal update. First, the update. It's been a busy day today. My husband and I attended a training class today for a safe driving discount on our auto insurance. So those of us who attended this class will get a 10% discount for the next 3 years off of our insurance. It was well worth the $20 registration fee and the 6 hours that we spent in class. We've done this before twice, so it really does help you to save a good deal of money on your insurance. Anyway, we did that today. We went to the gym and did our walking today, and we've had dinner. So by the time I got home at about 5:30, almost 6 o'clock today, I finally got to get started on my Magical Stitches homework. So I'm really happy today that the homework is 4 steps, but only 200 stitches each, so that they're easy to knock out at least one of the prompts as you go. As it turned out, the 4 colors, or 5 I think it is, that we have to stitch on are supposed to be earth elements. And so you've got air and earth and water, and anyway, they have colors associated with them. Of course, the 4 house colors, and then another. So I thought, I don't have any trouble with 4 of the 5 colors, but one of the colors was yellow. And I was just racking my brain last night when I read the prompt. What am I going to stitch with yellow? Yesterday, I was actually working on Jumpin' Jack Frost. It was just one of my whips that I have on a scroll rod, and I'm not going to be taking it with me to StitchCon. So I wanted to work on it a little bit. I'll remind you, this is what it looks like. This is just my printer copy because it was a download. So the colors aren't true. But this is the one I thought, if you recall, I thought I had messed up, and that this leaf that was half green instead of the half orange was wrong, but it wasn't. So I was so relieved that I didn't have to frog it. But when I left off, I had stitched over here to some of the words. I think I had stopped it and the air. And I may have had a leaf over here. Not sure. Maybe I only had this leaf right here, I think. So I had started working on this Sunday, and I had gotten some progress on it. And it was still on my frame. And so I went to bed not knowing what I was going to work on at all. So when I got up this morning, I came in here before we headed out for the class. And I thought, well, let me just see what I want, if I want to finish up something on this. And I was working on the skin. I was working on the hands and the face. And the hands and the face are actually a blend of 2 yellows. A light yellow and a medium yellow. They're 3823 and 3855. These are the 2. That's the skin. And I thought, well, let me count the skin and see if I, have enough. Well, of course I didn't. I had roughly half of what I needed in the skin. So I thought, well, when I get back, I'll see if there's any other yellow on that piece, maybe some leaves. Maybe I could eke out enough yellow to get 200 stitches. Well, like I said, the colors aren't true. Because when I started looking to see what colors the leaves were, it dawned on me to check what color the pants were. This is the color of the pants. Now that's yellow. So I was stoked. I had been working on this on Sunday, and I was going to get to continue on it for homework today, which I did. And this is where I got to. So now you can see Jumpin' Jack in here with his red hair hanging down. And I did get the leaves over here above him. So I've worked the piece all the way down to here. And it's not quite the middle. The middle is just below, right about it, at the knees. So I'm almost to the middle of this piece. But what I'm so tickled about is that I got 334 stitches or more. I haven't even counted the last row I stitched. So I've got a little more than that. I only needed 200. So I definitely, with these 2 yellows and this yellow, have way more than 200 stitches, and here I was sweating it. I didn't know where I was going to find that. And I was just so tickled to get to continue stitching on the project that I had started on yesterday. And I'm very, very pleased with the progress. So I wanted to share that with you. So thanks for letting me give you that update on my Jumpin' Jack Frost by Tangles. And I'm loving this piece. I'm loving the fabric that it's on. I think it just looks like you've taken those leaves and smeared them all over the fabric. It's just so cute. Well, enjoy your stitching. I'm not sure how many more segments I'll be able to eke in here before I have to get ready to go to StitchCon. I've already got my wrapping material for my small, and I've already got my pieces picked out that I'm taking with me, and the next thing that I have to do is start thinking about packing. So we're only a week and 2 days away. It's really close. So in case you didn't know, I'm pretty excited about it. Oh, thank you all for joining me on this journey of stitching, and I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. Hello, stitching friends. Today is Tuesday, and it is the 18th of June. I am working busily on my homework for School of Magical Stitches, and I have already completed work for 2 of the 5 colors that we have to stitch this week. We have to do 5 elements, each represented by a color. So water is blue, earth is green, fire is red, air is yellow, and wood is brown. Actually, I've done 3 because I did the yellow already. So today I did 2 colors on 1 whip, and it is my Little House Needleworks Little House Neighborhood. And I am happy to let you know that I finished the roof to complete my brown. And then to make sure I had it positioned correctly, I did the little red flowers and started on the green. And so all that green is what I needed to get my, I think I did 206 stitches in green. So that got my brown and my green both on the same whip. So I'm excited about that, and really enjoying working on this fabric. And this is ancient. It is a 32 count Picture This Plus. And I think that looks fabulous, and I think it's going to look really pretty on there. So I'm going to put this away for now. This is going with me to StitchCon, and I didn't know I'd get to work on it again, but you know, the homework always tells us what we're going to do. So now I have to do the colors for blue and red, and I tried to think about doing red in this piece, but I'd have to count so far down to get to the red house, and there's not enough red in her dress to hit the 200 stitches. So I've decided I'm going to pull out a different whip for my red and my blue, and I'm going to use my Jim Shore's 12 Days of Christmas for that, because the red coat will give me plenty of red stitches, and the blue background, of course, will give me as many blue stitches as I care to do. So I think that would be the easiest one to pull out for the last 2 colors that I have to do. I don't know that I'll get them all done today, but that's what I'm going to be working on. Hello again, my friends. This is my second posting for today. Today is still the 18th. It is still Tuesday, and I have just finished my Magical Stitches homework for the week. I was highly motivated. I have a lot going on this week. So I wanted to share with you what I did. I worked on my 12 Days of Christmas, my Jim Shore one. And the reason I did it is there were 2 colors that I had to do 200 stitches in to finish the 5 elements. Red for fire and blue for water. There's plenty of red in here, and there's certainly plenty of blue. So I knew that would be easy to get, and that's what I wanted. So let me show you what I did. Here my Santa is now. So this is where I worked on his coat, all in here. I put in 3 different colors of red. I had a very little bit of the coat started up here. And so I finished 2 colors in his sleeve, and I finished 3 colors of red in that coat, and there's still, I think, 2 more. At least I know 1 more. But I did more than my 200 stitches, just over. And then I came up here and I extended this out to the final column. That is actually the final star on this side. And I did that and this row, and I hit 216 stitches of the blue. And so I called it a day. So let me back up. This is where my Jim Shore Santa is today. So there you have it. That is my homework. I had an interesting request come from a friend today who watches my videos. And she asked if I would be willing to video a segment in the near future of me going through the homework, seeing the homework assignment for the first time, and taking you through the process I go through to determine which of my whips I'm going to use for the prompts for Magical Stitches, for my prompts for my Facebook group, Cheryl McKinney's Facebook group, the Daily 30, and any other sales that I have for the month and that are due that week, and just sort of walk you through my process of what I do to pick everything out and how I plot it out over the course of a week to meet all the different prompts. And I would love to do that. I think that's a great idea. I'd never thought about filming that. It's a process I go through every week. So I'm going to try to remember to do that next week. And so that may be one of the segments that you'll see coming up fairly quickly. So I hope you're enjoying your stitching. I hope you are working hard on your homework if you're in the School of Magical Stitches. And until we meet again, happy stitching.